Hi, it's Jerry with I Love RV Life. This is the Vevor J60. This is a 60 liter or 63 quart 12 volt single zone refrigerator freezer. Let me show you some features about this that I think you'll like. Hi, it's Jerry with I Love RV Life. I'm always looking for products to make RV life better, simpler, and just more enjoyable overall. And these portable refrigerators have been game changers for Joan and I in just a number of different areas. One, we use these as overflow down in our bottom bay. I have a 12 volt DC plug, these car adapter, or for we older folks, cigarette lighter adapters that you can plug into. And when we're going to be going, as we're going to be doing this very, very soon, to places that we're going to be gone for months at a time, we're going to really stock up the refrigerator in here, the big one, the big 3-door GE that we have back there. And then down in the bay, we're going to pack it full as well. And then as the inventory starts getting lower, we'll do things, especially if we're in warmer climates, we'll put things like beverages and things like that to entertain outside. Now this is the Vevor J60, and this is a single zone refrigerator. We've looked at others that were dual zone. I wanted a large single zone, and I call it a refrigerator, but it can be a refrigerator or a freezer. Here's why. You can set the temperature in this as low as -40 Fahrenheit and up to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know why you'd want to do that. But usually we keep, if we're doing things like vegetables, beverages of whatever variety and so forth, we usually keep the temperature around 38 to 36 degrees. But what I really like about it as well, and we've not had this option before, is to be able to set up a single zone as nothing but a back-end freezer. And that's really helpful for us because a lot of times when we're at home, we can go to a Sam's or a Costco or something like that. And when you find things like your big flats of chicken, or we're big chicken wing eaters or things like that, or beef or pork or those types of things, we smoke a lot of meats and have ribs and those types of things. We can pre-package a lot of things to make quick, easy meals. We use something called a food saver, and we vacuum pack our foods. And boy, with 63 quarts, we can pack this thing. And when I show you what this is going to be crazy. Now here's the wild thing. 63 quarts, you can see how big it is. $229 off Vevor's website. That is absolutely amazing, and they ship from the US as well. So when I contacted them and said, yes, I'd like to look at this and be able to show it on our channel, I got it in like 2 days. It was really, really super quick. A lot of features and functions I do want to share with you. So let's think about what 63 quarts or 60 liters will allow you to do. You could pack this thing with about 100 cans of soft drinks or adult beverages, something like that. If you want to throw the party of all parties, about 26 bottles of wine. that would be something, wouldn't it? But what I like about it, it only weighs 44 pounds empty. But aside from that, can you see this? These wheels, these are aluminum anodized wheels with ball bearings and rubber mounts. Pulling this thing along is super easy. And then you have this handle, and I had to put the wheels on, had to put this on. It took maybe 10 minutes to do that. You've got these little release latches that are here, and this will open up all the way so that you can have some height and leverage to be able to pull this along, especially if you've got this thing loaded with a lot of cans and just food for the picnic or tailgating, as we'll be doing in a week and a half. We've got a big college game that we're going to be going to. That's going to be a lot of fun. So, you've got those capabilities to do that as well. So to be able to operate it, again, is real simple. In, push it back in like that. Really, really nice. Big surface up here, so you have some food prep area if you need to be able to do that. Easy washable, all plastic on the outside. Very, very, very large. Again, a little chain to be able to hold it. Very, very nice. The other thing that I like about it, it came with an adapter that I'll show you in just a minute. I plugged it into 120 volts to go ahead and pre-cooler. I always recommend doing that. Number one, before you put your food in, because you don't want to put, food into one of these things that can be rather hot. And if you're going to be using 12 volts and you've got a limited amount of power, you don't want to spend all the time charging this thing up and getting it cold. But the benefit is it does have what they call a eco mode and a max cool. I put this on max cool and it got this thing down to 38 degrees, at least on the meter. We'll check it with a thermometer here in just a minute. It got it to 38 degrees in less than 2 hours. That's super, super fast. And then you have both this car, what you want to call it, 12 volt car adapter, cigarette lighter adapter that plugs in as well. And then I'll show you the little 12 volt to 120 volt adapter as well. They send you a screwdriver. That's all you need to assemble the handle and put the wheels on. And again, they're all ball bearing, work very, very nice. That was all that was sent with it. It was really neat, and that's all I needed. Now, what does it take to operate it? Well, if you're going to be using this just as 120 volts, say you're off grid and you don't have 12 volt, your cabin or whatever you're using, your home is only 120 volt, you don't have any 12 volt to be able to use, you can use this adapter. And I found it to only pull 45 120 volt watts, household watts, 45 watts to be able to do it. Now, when you look at these, in the United States, you have to have an energy guide. The energy guide here says yearly estimated cost to operate this is $27 or 192 kilowatts a year. When I kind of did some math here, that kind of comes out to be something like 0.5 kilowatts, using it at 120 volts, 0.5 kilowatts over a 24-hour period. So that's not bad at all. That's not bad at all for a 60-liter fridge. The other thing, too, 2 of these in, say, a bus build would be pretty awesome. You could use one as a refrigerator, 63 quarts, and one as a freezer, 63 quarts. And remember now, they're $229, so free shipping. So $460, you could have 120 liters of capacity refrigerator and freezer. It's pretty wild. I also like that they have these, if you put the handles on it, you have strap down hold downs where you could put this, on a slide out that would hold both sides. Or if you don't put the handles on it, you're going to use it in a fixed location. You have these built-in tie downs as well. And then in something like that, you would not put the handles on it. You wouldn't put the wheels on it. And then there's some little feet right here. You would take those feet off so that you'd have a nice flat surface. And it would give you an additional, I think I calculated as inch and a height of headroom. I know space in buses, space in vans are very, very important. For we RVers, we just need some space up underneath to be able to put it. Or if you got a pull behind camper, I'm going to be hooking this up to one of those portable power stations, and we're going to see how this thing works in a portable power station environment. A small one, not one of these big boys, a small one to see how it works, one of these value-priced ones. You could put this in the back of your pickup, with a cover. That would be awesome. If you've got a smaller pull behind and you're using something like an SUV, plenty of room to put this, and you could be gone for a long time with 63 quarts. It's pretty amazing, pretty amazing. The other thing that I like about it too is, especially if you're in a camper or something like that, or you're in a van, sometimes you can't get, a perfectly level spot. And I know on the propane refrigerators that we have in campers, you got to have those things flat or they're pretty temperamental. They report, I haven't tried it yet, they report that this will work at up to 45 degrees. Well, I'll go ahead and tell you, I don't want to camp anywhere at 45 degrees, but it's nice that it has that feature as well. And again, I talked about these nice ball bearing wheels, big fat wheels, to make it easier to pull along. Would help you at the beach when you're in the soft sand, and that big long handle, steel handle, 4 screws in each one of the brackets to be able to hold this handle in place. It is really a substantial refrigerator. $229, that's crazy. All right, let's do some close-ups here and let me show you some features. For starters, I did want to show you this. Now, this is a kilowatt meter. This is where I was looking to see how many watts it took to operate. It was 45 watts. And it looks like one of these computer style power supplies, AC to DC power supplies. And it just plugs right into the side here, no problem whatsoever. And if you're not using that, again, this plug, and it's a very long cable. I don't know how long it is, plugs right in here with the car port or cigarette lighter style adapter. A few little things here. It does, I'll show you the controls when we get up here to the top. You've got this little tray. Because this thing has a USB port on it, you can use it to charge a USB device. You could put your plugs in here. It does have a bottle opener. It's a hard plastic. I wouldn't get too carried away with this, opening up your bottles, but it would do it. I think it would do it. I don't know what the life of that would be. Okay, let's look at the controls here. I'm going to have to get pretty high up in the air. This is a big refrigerator. So power, these are some of your features that you have here. This is that USB port that I was telling you about. And then moving your temperature up and down is done here. Right now I have it in a locked mode. That's the other thing that I like. You can lock this down to keep the temperatures from being changed. Now you also have 3 profiles. You'll notice if you can make this out in the video, this has an M on it. It has 3 profiles that you can use for power depending on your batteries. I like to use it in the medium profile. If you go out to ilovervlife.com for today's blog on this, I will have the specs to show you what the different profiles are. I also have this in max mode. When I plug this into, I'll show you when I plug it into the power station, I'm going to be operating this on Eco because I've already brought it up to my 38 degrees. We're going to be using this specifically as a refrigerator, and I think that's very, very important. So those are the controls. Pretty simple, not a whole lot to it. Again, it is a very, very, very large very large refrigerator, and I really like this. All right, I was mentioning your tie down straps. If you're not using these, if you're doing this like in a bus or van build, pull behind. This would also be great if you're doing a remodel on a small truck style camper, or you're going to be needing some overflow. You've got a small truck camper, and putting this in the back seat area of your pickup truck, you can tie it down there to keep it from running around. Here we go. That opens up just like so, and you can see just how big this thing is. Here you go. Tip of my finger above my elbow. This thing is absolutely massive. I don't care what portable refrigerator you use. I have yet to see one where the temperature matches the inside. I can't tell you why. I don't know where the cold temperature probes are put on these portable refrigerators. They either run too cold or too hot. I have froze more things at 38 degrees. No, I know physics doesn't allow that, but not with this refrigerator, with another one that we've tested in the past. So I'll probably lower the temperature on this one a little bit. We'll check it again. I'm going to hook this up to a 614 watt portable power station. That would be what we would use for something like tailgating, a short trip travel, like we may leave the camper somewhere, leave for a couple days while we're away, do a grocery store run, come back with this full of food, and then I would use that smaller power station for something like that. If I was going to use this, say, in a van build or a bus build, small campers, small truck style camper, something like that, then I would use one of the big, probably 2,000 kilowatt for something like that, and it would run this thing for, a week plus. So it's going to be interesting to see what the power drain is of this in a 12 volt operation only. So like I said, 45 watts with 120 volts. So we'll see what the 12 volt demand is for something like that. So let's get it hooked up to this Pacron, and then we're going to let it run for a while and see how long this refrigerator will run on just a small power station. I've got it hooked up to the power station. If you'll notice here, right here, I've got it set for eco mode. I still have it in the medium profile. That's not a big deal here. It's showing 39 degrees. That is the internal thermometer. I have lowered this down to 30 degrees. From a setting, so we'll see what 30 degrees looks like when we put the thermometer back on it again. You'll see that I'm getting 12.7 volts of voltage, and you see that's a little bit different than what we had a few minutes ago on the 120 volt converter. And you'll see here's the configuration that I've got set up. Nothing fancy, no big deal whatsoever. This is a little Percron. These are handy. Again, very small, 614 kilowatts. And we're currently operating here at 44 watts. And it's saying that we'll run 12 to 13 hours. Now, that is not going to be the case. Here's why. When this refrigerator gets to temp, it's going to quit running until it needs temperature again. So that's going to be a very big difference. We're going to get far more than 13 hours out of this thing. I would probably give it about another 40% or more. We might get 20 out of it. I don't know. All right, so let's just let this thing run a while, and I'll check back on it probably in about 4 or 5 hours, and just see what it's at. So it is going to take a bit of a hit because the refrigerator is having to run to lower the temperature down to 30 degrees, at least from what its internal thermometer says. I really want to get this down into something that's food safe to actually make sure it's going to do it, number one. And number two, that's the way we'd be operating. All right, so here we go. I'll get back with you in a little while, and we'll see where we're at. Okay, it's been a little over 20 hours, almost 21 hours since I started this test yesterday. And really, what's the purpose of this test of 20 hours using it on one of these portable power stations? It's really, how efficient is this refrigerator? Can it get me through a tailgate? Can it get me through a weekend camping? If you're using this, and you're a tent camper, or just you don't have any refrigeration in your van or a pop-up camper or something like that, could I use this big 60 quarter, which would feed the army, and use a small power station? That's the purpose. So let's walk over here. First thing we'll do is I want to look at the temperature and see if I finally figured out exactly how to set this thing up for that. And then we will look at the power station and see how we're going for, like I said, almost 21 hours. All right, well, this has been running for about 20 hours now. Let's just see what the temperature looks like inside of it. And I am reading 38 degrees. Guess what? That's where, can I make it out a little better? And let's turn the light on. There we go. 38, 39 degrees. I've already had it up for a minute. So that's where we like to see this thing run. I'm pretty pleased with that. Oh, sorry for the loud boom. This just shows you where, and it's not going to be running right now just because, it's cold and it'll be going back up and back down. Remember now, this is a 612 kilowatt little power supply. You can see how big it is. There's my hand in front of it. And it's been running 20 hours, so only 70% usage. Incredible. So I could take this little thing, run it for days. You take a big 2,000 water, and it would run it for substantially more time than that. Of course, this is the only thing that's running on it. All right, so let's kind of do a recap on this Vevor refrigerator. You saw the temperature difference. So I am, and this is not unusual, and part of it to blame is I have nothing in it. Usually when you start putting mass in it, a bunch of cans and bottles and food and things like that, a mass builds up in these refrigerators, and believe it or not, it's actually easier to keep that mass cool. There's some physics behind that I can't explain. I just know that it works that way because I've used it on other refrigerators as well. So what I've had to do with this one, because it's empty and it's got that big, 62 quart, 63 quart space that's inside of it, I'm really having to refrigerate a big open air mass. So it is going to read a little bit different, but I wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt. Could I get it down into the temperature that we'd like to operate, which is about 36 to 38 degrees? Yes, you saw it. I can. And I had to set it down to 28 degrees. So probably what would end up happening is, we're getting ready to go on a trip. We're going to fill this thing full of food. I'm going to go ahead and pre-cool it as I have it right now, empty. I would set it down to 28 degrees. But more than likely what would end up happening is once I start putting all this food in here, I might run into the risk of freezing. So I might adjust it up a little bit. I'm gonna have to play with it a little bit and see exactly how it behaves. But that's just, again, learning these portable refrigerators that are all the same and their indicators are all a little bit different. But again, I don't want to give a black eye to Vevor on what I am not doing. I'm not going to fill this thing full of food and drinks and bottles to test this, but just to kind of let you know that open air space, regardless of who you're going to be using, you might find that same instance in these big models compared to a smaller model that doesn't have all that airspace to be able to do it. Okay, all right, enough of that. All right. So again, $229. I'm looking at other, what I'll call name brand units that are, 4 times more, maybe even a little bit more. And, when you look at something like this, you could, again, if you have a van build, bus build or something like that, refrigerator freezer option with 2 of these and still be at about half the price of what you would get one of the similar size and one of the big name brand units that are out there. I like this one for the way that we're going to be using it, the portability of the handle. These big wheels. I've used another one that has the smaller wheels on it and drug it through the sand. And this is just going to be a breeze when we go to the beach, when it warms up enough to do that. We have got a big tailgate. Woo, we've got a big tailgating party planned Saturday week from this video. And so we're going to be going up to Athens and do the big hoopla up there. And it will be, 2 carloads of us, and we'll be grilling, and it's going to be a hoot. And for the first time, we'll not be taking ice chest. We'll be taking this big boy right here, filled full of food and beverages, and we'll get there early in the morning and leave sometime at night. It is an event. And this is going to be the main stage where we'll have all of our food and drinks. So I'm excited about that. All right. If you're interested in looking at these models, and look, this 63 quart or 60 liter unit was the one that I asked them to send me. They got much smaller units. They got different styles. There's a wide variety of refrigerators at a value price. And if you're looking for something, you're on a tight budget, or, you want to buy one and have a spare, just a lot of applications here. Here's a good application for a single zone refrigerator and or freezer that you might want to consider. I'll give you links into the description today for this freezer and then just all the things at Vevor. It's not just refrigerators and those types of things. They've got tons of tools. Some of these RVers might be wanting to use. I might have an opportunity to gain access to some of those in the future. We'll see. And you'll be seeing those on the channel. We'll see how that goes with this company. We appreciate them sending this to us for our evaluation. It is a new company that is providing us with products to be able to share with the RV community. So I hope you find these valuable. If you're looking for something like this, $229, it's probably less than those big Yetis and things like that. And then, this one's runs on battery, kind of neat. All right, I'll put links in today's description. You can go out to ilovervlife.com. I'm going to have all kinds of charts out there on settings, etc., that might be beneficial, and then links back to the site for some additional information. Appreciate you watching. Give us a thumbs up if you like this kind of content. Subscribe if you haven't done so. We'd really appreciate it. And we do this for you, but most importantly, I do it because I love RV life.